Hi guys, thank you so much for being here. So today I want to talk about junk journals. What exactly are they? So first, let me just start off by saying that I am not an expert in this and I'm actually a beginner. So let's learn together. I first started making junk journals about 4 years ago and I just became totally enthralled with them because it's the act of taking junk and turning it into something beautiful, taking things that nobody wants, that have been discarded, that have just been left for dead, and now you take it, you mine it, you alchemize it, and you produce a really beautiful thing. So I'm gonna just talk a little bit about different kinds of junk journals because I approach it a little bit differently. And okay, so I'm not going to open each one and talk about it in detail because for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to talk about what exactly are junk journals. So this one right here is a passport. It's an expired passport of mine that was just going to end up getting thrown away. So I turned it into a junk journal. And in its strictest sense, junk journals are made only from found items. So for example, letters, junk mail, envelopes, photos, tickets, etc., etc., etc. So things that would just get thrown away. And now for this journal, it's mostly junk, but I did purchase a couple of things to put in here. So this is a little cutest pie handle over here, and I'm gonna bring it up here so you can see it. And I think it's by Tim Holtz, and it's an embellishment, and you could probably buy it, say, at like a Michael's or maybe online. And this is a postcard of Frida Kahlo, and I cut it to size, and I used a hot glue gun to adhere everything in this book. And this is a Ganesha postcard, and I cut this out as well to size, and I put this on the back. Now inside, it's kind of just like a scrapbook type of situation. I hot glued a lot of postcards and photographs and little mementos and things that meant and mean a lot to me. So this particular one is kind of like a time capsule, if you will, because when I look through it, it evokes certain memories and feelings and things that happened at a particular time in my life. So it means a lot to me in that sense, but it's also something I'm gonna pass down to my daughter one day, and maybe when I'm no longer here, she can look through it and perhaps get something out of it. So that is this particular junk journal right here, made from an old passport. Now, this is probably much more in sync with what a junk journal really is, because 90% of all of this stuff in here that I used to make this journal is just stuff that I found. So if you look at this closely, this is just a lined page from a cheap notebook. And what I did is I dipped it in tea. So just a tea bag in boiling water. I dipped it all these pages in tea, probably overnight. And then I laid it out in the sun to dry. And now I went in and I used it. Now this one over here is just a mishmash of things. There's some poetry in here. There's some journaling. There's some images in here. But it's just kind of, it's just there. There's no real purpose to it. It served more as at a time in my life when we were in the middle of moving and I didn't have access to my art studio. So this was a creative outlet for me to simply create when I didn't have access to all of my art supplies. Now, I did bind this as well. And what I did to bind this is I used an awl, A-W-L, and I'm gonna do another video where I talk about the tools that are really helpful when you're making your own books. And they don't have to be very expensive at all. You can get a bookbinding kit and it has the basics of what you would need to start binding your own books, which is what this is, because this was just all a bunch of papers and I put it together and I bound it. Oops, and something just fell out right now as I'm doing this video, but that's totally fine. So I'm just gonna put it in there. And so this is another one of my junk journals. Now, this one over here is a similar book, but I didn't bind it yet. So I might make a video where I bind it and I record it so you can see how I bind it, and maybe we can learn together, because I'm sure I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes because I am not an expert in this by any stretch. So what I did for this is about 90% of these papers are junk mail, and I absolutely love junk mail because, first of all, you can find paper that's very, very good quality. It's not glossy, it's thick, it's absorbent, it has interesting text, and it's all free. And what I do is I pick the ones I want, I cut it to size, and then I soaked it again in tea overnight, and then I laid it out in the sun to dry, and then I just put it all together. And the intention for this one, because I do tend to have intentions for each of my journals, whether they're junk journals or art journals or whatever. This one here, it says a feeling journey. So I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but I wrote that down here because I wanted this to be all about what do I feel. And so it's a snapshot of, at the time that I created it, of the different emotions and things I was going through, which are going to mean something to me, but they probably won't have the same meaning to anybody else. So it's a very, very personal in that sense, just like our art journals are. So what I tend to do is I kind of like combining art journaling with a diary kind of situation, and then scrapbooking, and then junk, and that's how I make my junky junk journals. I kind of just like, it's like a salad, you know, and just throw everything in there and then see what I can create. So that's how I approach it. So I'm not going to open this up and talk about it in detail either for right now. I might do that in another video if there's any interest in me doing that. So if you're interested in, you know, me doing a video just going through these junk journals, please let me know in the comments and I'll do a video on that. So I'm going to put this aside for now, and I'm going to go to another journal here. And I'm not sure that this is a junk journal in the traditional sense, because I've purchased a lot of the things that are in this journal, but to me, it's still a junk journal. It's not an art journal per se. So these are book boards, and you can purchase them. This one's by Seven Gypsies, and I really love their products. They make the most amazing stuff. But you can get, I'm sure Tim Holtz has book boards, and I'm sure a number of other people do as well. So these come in a pair. So this is the front and the back, and they come in different sizes and different designs, and it shouldn't be more than $10. This is made out of chipboard, so it can take a lot of layers if you wanted to just completely put, you know, collage and paint and what have you on top of this. So inside, what I did is I cut out watercolor paper to size, and I covered each page with gesso, and then I painted over it and layered embellishments, and then I did bind it very loosely. It is a fragile book. As you can tell, it's not tightly bound at all, but I really love this loosey-goosey situation here. And this is a very treasured junky junk journal of mine, and I am going to do a video where I open this one up and show you all the different pages in here and talk about it. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments, I would really appreciate them in the comments. And I hope you enjoy this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.